Good day, everyone. Today we're going to focus on 2-3, adding, subtracting rational numbers. Number one, a over d. So think of number one as two fractions added together. A over d plus b over d. D is our denominator. A and b are our numerators. When adding fractions, you add the first numerator to the second numerator if the denominator is the same. In this case, d and d are the same, so therefore all we have to do is add both numerators, a and b, together to get our final answer. If the denominator is not the same, and we practiced this on our last lesson, we got to get a common denominator. How do you get a common denominator? Is you find the least common multiple, as you learned in the last video. If that doesn't make sense, go back and watch the last video on 2-2, comparing and ordering rational numbers. Number two is an example. We have 1/5 plus a -4/5. This problem is written incorrectly because we have a plus and a minus next to one another, and we want to make this problem, it's not incorrect, it's actually just confusing, so we want to make it less confusing. So what we're going to do, because we have two signs next to one another, is we are going to take what we know and change them just to one sign. We know that when a positive and negative are next to one another, they become a negative. So we now have 1/5 minus 4/5. Look back at your properties of adding fractions. The denominators are the same, so all we have to do is add the numerator. Okay, so I'm just going to say, well, the denominators are the same. I'm going to keep the denominator in the bottom. I'm going to take the number 1, and I'm going to subtract 4. 1 minus 4 is -3. Your answer is -3/5. Okay, again, considering the property a over d plus b over d, since the denominators are the same, all we have to do is add the numerators. The only element to this one that I added was you have a plus and a minus. Back to chapter 1, you know that you have to change the sign. Number 3, Matthew, Slowpoke Matthew, ran the 100-meter dash in 12.36 seconds. Mr. P beat him badly and ran the same race in 9.02 seconds. How much faster is Mr. P? 12.36 is Matthew's time. We want to know how much fast Mr. Pottinger is, so we subtract 9.02 seconds from that time. Do the math. 4, 3, drop our decimal, borrow. 12 minus 9 is 3. Mr. Pottinger is 3.34 seconds faster than Matthew. Again, we are adding and subtracting rational numbers. We know that 1/5 and -4/5 are rational numbers because they are fractions. And we know that 12.36 and 9.02 are rational numbers because they are decimals. Number 4, 12 and 1/10 minus x. We know that x is -1/10. So we're going to rewrite this problem as 12 and 1/10 minus whatever x is. In this case, x equals -0.01. -0.01. Uh-oh, we have two signs next to each other. We know that when we have two signs next to each other, we need to rewrite the problem so that we only have one. It makes it less confusing. 12 and 1/10 plus 0.01 or 1/100th is our new problem, because when you have two negatives next to one another, they become positive. Now, if I'd want you to show your work, you would have to rewrite this problem one more time as 12 and 1/10 plus, decimal points always line up when adding and subtracting decimals, 0, 1, or 1/100th. Remember, 12 and 1/10 is the same as 12 and 10/100ths. So we can add that 0 there so that we can make sure we have everything lined up. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. Drop my decimal. 2 and nothing, we can put zeros here too. 2 and nothing is 2. 1 and nothing is 1. Final answer, 12 and 11/100ths. 2-3, adding and subtracting rational numbers.